That'll wrap up our 5 o'clock report. World News Tonight with Peter Jennings up next. We'll be back at 6.
See you then.
On World News Tonight, 4 Americans killed in Iraq today, an ugly scene in the city of Fallujah. Some Iraqis were celebrating, others were disgusted. The federal government says it has busted a $100 million drug trafficking ring, millions and millions of ecstasy pills. The oil-producing countries have cut back production. We'll take a closer look tonight at whether the president or his rival can do anything about the price. And from Los Angeles tonight, less time in jail. These days, they call it catch and release.
From ABC News, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. Reporting tonight from Washington.
Good evening, everyone. We're going to begin with Iraq this evening. 4 American civilians were killed there today, and as sometimes happens, the cameras were there for the gruesome aftermath. The 4 men were part of a very large contingent of heavily armed Americans who are everywhere in Iraq these days, some of them working for the government, including the CIA, others providing security in some form or another to the American occupation. They were attacked and killed in the city of Fallujah. And there is no other city in Iraq where Americans are quite so unpopular. Let us tell you in advance, some of these pictures are pretty repugnant, but they are the reality of war. Here's ABC's John Berman.
On the streets of Fallujah, the brutal attack was met with celebration. "We are from Fallujah," they chanted. "This is our work." Witnesses say the 2 SUVs were ambushed as they drove through town. They threw hand grenades, said this man, 2 at each car. The contractors worked for Blackwater Security, a company that protects coalition personnel. The company said they were guarding convoys delivering food around Fallujah. A small crowd descended on the burning cars. What happened next was gruesome. The bodies of the 4 Americans were pulled from the flames, poked, prodded, and beaten. One charred body was tied behind a car and dragged through the streets, a procession that included children. 2 mangled corpses were hanged on a bridge over the Euphrates River. "This is Fallujah," they chanted. "Who asked you to come here?" One Iraqi cameraman told ABC News that most residents in Fallujah stayed inside, disgusted by the attack and what followed. But the crowd was violent and determined. "Fallujah," they yelled, "is the cemetery of America." At their daily news conference, U.S. officials seemed to downplay the significance of the event.
While this one incident was happening in Fallujah, throughout the rest of the country, we were opening schools. We were opening health clinics.
Still, what happened in the aftermath of today's attack was reminiscent of Somalia 11 years ago, when American soldiers were dragged through the streets of Mogadishu. On the streets of Iraq, you can find stores selling videos of that attack in Somalia, glorifying violence against U.S. troops. It is quite possible that the insurgents here know the impact that these images might have. John Berman, ABC News, Baghdad.
The events in Fallujah were broadcast on the Arab television networks today, although our translators were surprised how quickly the programs moved on to other news. Only the Abu Dhabi satellite channel showed the most graphic pictures. A reporter on Al Jazeera said it appeared the U.S. authorities and the Iraqi police didn't care very much about the killings because they did not carry out an immediate investigation. Fallujah is about 230,000 people in population, and since the occupation began, it's developed a reputation as having some of the most anti-American elements in the country. In a recent Iraq poll that we did, 70% of people in the province where Fallujah is located think that attacks on coalition forces are acceptable. In the rest of Iraq, it's about, on average, 17%. Here's more from ABC's Martha Raddatz.
Fallujah is the center of one of the most violent areas in Iraq. Shootouts, bombings, murders have been frequent over the past year. But in January, the U.S. Army commander for the region said attacks were decreasing and the coalition was, quote, on a glide path to success.
We have turned the corner and now we can accelerate down the straightaway.
Today's attacks make clear that statement was premature. The U.S. Marines who replaced the Army's 82nd Airborne Division just over a week ago promised a get-tough approach with insurgents. They immediately found themselves in a running gun battle that left one Marine dead, as well as an ABC cameraman and several Iraqi insurgents.
The 1st Marine Expeditionary Force is dedicated to going into Fallujah at any time to restore order, to establish a safe and secure environment, and to get on with the progress that's being denied to the vast majority of citizens in Fallujah.
That was not the case today. Witnesses in the area told reporters Marines did not enter Fallujah until several hours after the American contractors were killed. In the coming days, U.S. forces are expected to seal off areas around Fallujah and try to round up those believed involved in the attacks and those who cheered them on afterwards.
We have to recognize that Fallujah is different than many of the other cities in Iraq. In Fallujah, the people themselves are actively supporting the aggression. And therefore, how we deal with that has to be different.
The attacks are not just confined to Fallujah, Peter. It has been, as you know, a very violent month all over Iraq.
In fact, Martha, today there were 5 U.S. soldiers killed by one of those explosive devices along the road again.
Yes, a very large number of soldiers to be killed by one device, a homemade bomb on a roadside just west of Baghdad. It left a crater 10 by 12 feet. They are investigating this attack.
And very briefly, is this what we're seeing today, a representative picture of how the campaign is going against the insurgents?
Well, I think certainly central Baghdad remains the problem, and Fallujah remains the problem. In other areas of Iraq, things are going fairly well. They're starting up schools, starting up electricity, but it has been a bad month. 48 Americans killed. That's twice as many as last month.
Many thanks, Martha Raddatz over at the Pentagon. There has been, as Martha well knows, a sharp increase in attacks against civilians working throughout Iraq. The Americans killed today were employees of a company called Blackwater USA that provides security for various U.S. officials and government activities there. Blackwater personnel are often armed to the teeth, and they may have been a target because they do not hide it. Here's ABC's Jonathan Karl.
The Blackwater Company is known for taking on some of the most dangerous security assignments in Iraq. Blackwater is one of the largest and most conspicuous security firms in Iraq, with about 300 employees there.
The contractors that are reporting on what's going on are saying that, look, this is a tough situation. It's very dangerous. There's people sniping at us every day.
Private security has become a must for companies and nonprofit organizations working in Iraq, as insurgents have increasingly targeted non-military or so-called soft targets. An estimated 30 private contractors have been killed over the past year. The Pentagon, however, keeps no statistics on non-military deaths. Blackwater is staffed largely by retired U.S. military, including former members of the Special Forces. Their most conspicuous assignment is providing security for Paul Bremer. They also protect oil facilities and U.S. government convoys.
They're facing far greater threats than U.S. forces do, and that's a major challenge here.
Addressing the loss of their 4 employees today, Blackwater said, "At this point, the exact identities of the victims are not known. However, our thoughts and prayers are with their families."
Increasing attacks on contractors has made working in Iraq not only more dangerous, but also more expensive. The U.S. now estimates that up to 15% of reconstruction costs will go for private security. Jonathan Karl, ABC News, the State Department.
There is going to be more about the killings in Fallujah later this evening on Nightline. Some of the other news overseas today. In Berlin today, 50 countries pledged more than $4 billion in aid to Afghanistan for the next year. Half the money will come from the U.S. The government in Afghanistan says it needs about $27 billion in the next 7 years to rebuild the country and keep it, as the Afghan government says, from becoming a haven for terrorism and for illegal drugs. There was another suicide bombing in the Central Asian nation of Uzbekistan today. A suspected Islamic extremist blew himself up in the capital, Tashkent, after a standoff with police. There have been several of them. There were no other casualties. 30 people have been arrested after 3 days of violence, and more than 40 people have died. In other news today, here in Washington, the government has announced a major crackdown on a vast underground network that produced and sold ecstasy. the recreational drug of choice for so many people in America now. Many people were arrested both here and in Canada. Here's ABC's Pierre Thomas.
There were dozens of raids across the U.S. and Canada. Police say they broke up an ecstasy ring, which sold millions of pills over the past 3 years.
We together decimated a major ecstasy and marijuana cartel that is believed to be responsible for supplying as much as 15% of the ecstasy consumed in the United States.
The ecstasy was allegedly produced in 3 labs in Toronto and smuggled in the gas tanks of cars to 18 U.S. cities in 7 states, including New York, California, Iowa, and Louisiana. Police say the gang sold the drug to local dealers and dance clubs. Ecstasy has traditionally been produced by Israeli gangs in Europe. Today, police say they arrested 140 members of a Vietnamese and Chinese syndicate in Canada.
This is the first time that we have discovered a massive ecstasy pill production operation in North America.
Ecstasy use among the nation's youth is falling, but police say profits from ecstasy are still enormous, which is luring new criminal elements to the trade. The ring allegedly made $100 million in profit. U.S. officials are concerned that ecstasy is often mixed with other, more dangerous drugs.
This is really akin to playing Russian roulette, and you play long enough and you will lose.
According to a federal indictment, this group used intimidation and even murder to collect debts. Members were also charged with money laundering and identity theft. Pierre Thomas, ABC News, New York.
Tomorrow night on this network, on ABC, we're going to have a 1-hour program on ecstasy, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to address why it is the drug of choice for so many people and how the government may have exaggerated the risks trying to control it. That's Ecstasy Rising at 10 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow night. When we come back this evening, gas prices and presidential politics. We'll take a closer look at why the candidates say they can do something about the gas prices. Other news, the missing college student who turned up alive in Wisconsin. And at the end of the broadcast, thousands of criminals set free without serving their time. That's Los Angeles you're looking at. We'll tell you why it's happening.
This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. Brought to you by Mutual of Omaha.
Oh, the wonderful thing about children is it never occurs to them that their dreams might not come true. My dream has come true. With hard work and some good financial advice, I just opened my 3rd child care center. We take care of hundreds of children every day. Our children are our future. They just don't know it yet.
Financial services from Mutual of Omaha can help you make plans for your money and plans for your future. Begin today.
With Dulcolax laxative, you can relax. It works gently enough for sensitive stomachs, yet provides complete relief. More doctors recommend Dulcolax than any other overnight laxative. Relax. Trust Dulcolax for overnight relief guaranteed.
Call me irresponsible.
Who says cleaning has to be a full-time job? Swiffer Duster's new extending pivoting handle makes it a breeze, because you've got better things to do. Stop cleaning. Get Swiffer.
For years, the kids have called me their guardian angel. Brady? When I got cancer and the chemo made me anemic and too weak to keep working, I had to do something. I asked my doctor about Procrit.
Procrit is for chemotherapy-related anemia in patients with most kinds of cancer. Procrit helps rebuild red blood cells, and more red blood cells can mean more strength. Procrit is proven and safe. In studies, only diarrhea and edema occurred more often with Procrit than placebo.
I'm back, and there's no stopping me.
Every one of the 12 varieties of Mrs. Dash seasoning blends has 14 natural herbs and spices, so now you can add bold flavor to any dish. And since Mrs. Dash has always been salt-free with no MSG, you can create great-tasting, healthy meals that are full of only one thing: mouth-watering flavor. Mrs. Dash, salt-free, flavorful.
Our closer look for today. In Vienna, the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries said it was going to cut oil production by 4% tomorrow. That could help push gas prices even higher than they are today. Gasoline already averages a record $1.76 a gallon nationwide. That's 28 cents higher than it was at the beginning of the year. Senator John Kerry, the Democratic candidate for president, and the Bush campaign have been blaming each other for the soaring cost of gasoline. So we're going to take a closer look at whether either of their proposals will do anything to provide relief. Here's ABC's Kate Snow.
In San Diego, regular unleaded is going for well over $2 a gallon. The nationwide average, $1.76, up 28 cents since December. And high prices at the pump will ripple through the whole economy. And so the president and his Democratic rival are promising relief.
What we need is an energy plan so we're less dependent on foreign sources of energy.
The White House says the answer is its energy bill, but that's languished in Congress for 3 years. Each time the Senate's tried to pass it, it's been watered down. The controversial provision for drilling in the Alaska National Wildlife Refuge, or ANWR, removed.
If you take ANWR off the table, then there's not much left in there to provide any substantial growth in domestic crude oil supply.
The president's energy plan also includes tax incentives to encourage domestic oil production, but a study from its own energy department says they would have little effect.
We need an energy policy that's real and honest for this country.
John Kerry's plan, first pressure OPEC to release more oil. But that hasn't worked for this White House, despite what it says are constant conversations with OPEC nations. And it didn't work for President Clinton, whose globetrotting energy secretary tried to convince OPEC nations to increase output. Kerry also wants to stop filling the nation's backup stockpile of emergency crude oil, the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. President Clinton tried something similar in 2000. Gas prices did fall, but not entirely because of Clinton's action.
It might have had a very marginal effect. What really mattered, what really brought oil prices back down was the U.S. and the global economy were slowing down. The global demand for oil was slowing, and we had a very warm winter.
The bottom line, there's not much any president can do to influence prices at the pump.
I don't care whether there's a Democratic administration in place or Republican administration in place. There is little that can be done short term to influence gasoline prices.
Not the message most American drivers or voters want to hear. Kate Snow, ABC News, the White House.
In our campaign notebook today, President Bush's former counterterrorism advisor Richard Clarke is demanding the critical remarks he made about President Bush be removed from a new campaign advertisement. The ad was produced by the group MoveOn.org, which supports Senator Kerry. The group said it would honor Mr. Clarke's request. When we come back this evening, the case of a missing person that ended well.
I love nature.
Except when it stops.
You're constipated.
Maureen.
Try Phillips Chocolate Cream Chews. Unlike others, Phillips is stimulant-free. It works more naturally for cramp-free relief.
Phillips.
Comfortable cramp-free relief.
Disciplined investing. At T. Rowe Price, it's not just about the short term. It's about a steady, long-term approach. It's the same way we've managed investments for over 65 years. A disciplined, long-term approach. The smartest way to invest. T. Rowe Price. Invest with confidence.
Ask your doctor if Celebrex is right for you. Or call 1-888-CELEBREX.
What are little girls made of? Splenda and spice and everything nice.
Little girls and boys are very sweet when they get the sweet things they love. And now soft drinks and ice cream, juices and cookies, and lots of treats are being made with Splenda, the no-calorie sweetener made from sugar, so it tastes like sugar. Splenda is making life a little sweeter for everyone.
Our son was born with liver disease. He had heart surgery when he was 3 months old, and he had his liver transplant when he was 7 months old. It's nice to know that I work for a company that would take care of everything we went through with my son. You can think of the Mayo Clinic, you know. It's the best place they could have found. I don't think people know how great the benefits are at Walmart. Without Walmart, he wouldn't. I don't know that he'd made it. I don't know that we would have made it.
Introducing Kellogg's Special K Vanilla Almond Cereal. Toasted almonds, creamy vanilla flavor. It's a 110-calorie treat that only tastes indulgent. New Special K Vanilla Almond. Help yourself.
So I'm wondering, what's a Thermacare heat wrap? Then I put it on my aching back and I realized, oh, it's like a heating pad without a cord. And my pain just melts away. Yes, I feel like I could do backflips. No.
Tomorrow, how can this small device bring revolutionary new hope for millions of Americans suffering from the most extreme migraines? Would you believe it's all in the wiring? Watch World News Tonight.
There is some broadcasting news today, which is pretty political. Liberals got their own talk radio network today, though it's a pretty small network. Air America made its debut with a show hosted by the author and comedian Al Franken. Air America is intended as a counterweight to conservative talk radio, though as of now, as I said, there are only a handful of stations and satellite radio. The football great Paul Hornung has apologized today for suggesting that his alma mater, Notre Dame, needed to lower its academic standards to recruit black athletes.
As far as Notre Dame is concerned, we're going to have to ease it up a little bit. We can't stay as strict as we are as far as the academic structure is concerned, because we got to get the black athlete. We must get the black athlete if we're going to compete.
Today, Mr. Hornung said he meant to say that lower standards would allow more blacks and white athletes to enroll. In Wisconsin today, a college student was found alive after she had panicked a lot of people when she disappeared from her apartment. There are more than 100,000 people missing in the country right now. This is a case that ended well. ABC's Barbara Pinto reports from Madison.
In Madison, 4 days of desperation quickly turned to joy.
Oh, I'm on cloud nine right now, man. I'm just shaking. I don't know if I can keep standing up here.
Audrey Sealer, a 20-year-old college sophomore, is apparently in good health.
It is confirmed that the person that we have found is Audrey. She has been transported to a nearby hospital, and we are working with the hospital staff right now.
An office worker spotted Sealer in a swampy area just across the street from the command post, where hundreds of neighbors and friends have been staging their search. All afternoon, police conducted a frantic manhunt for the suspected kidnapper, believed to be armed. From the air, they used thermal imaging cameras, and on the ground, dozens of officers and dogs. Investigators, guns drawn, scoured an office park and nearby woods. A surveillance camera captured Sealer leaving her apartment building at 2:30 Saturday morning. It was the last anyone had seen of her. The news today spread quickly to Audrey's hometown of Rockford, Minnesota.
I heard my secretaries yelling out in the outer office here. I went out and they said we found her.
As of now, 3 square miles of this city remain shut down as the intense manhunt continues. Barbara Pinto, ABC News, Madison, Wisconsin.
When we come back this evening, the final report on our broadcast, crime and not a lot of punishment. And county in California, thousands of criminals getting out of jail.
Maple and brown sugar broccoli, a good source of fiber, but a very bad idea. Kellogg's Maple and Brown Sugar Frosted Mini Wheats, even more fiber with real maple flavor baked right in. Now there's an idea.
Women over 50 are at a greater risk for a heart attack. Because of age and other risk factors, doctors often recommend Bayer. Aspirin has been proven to reduce the risk of a heart attack. Be sure to talk to your doctor before you begin an aspirin regimen. Trust your heart to Bayer.
It's termite season. Terminix them with our exclusive problem-solved guarantee. 1-800-TERMINIX. It's termite swarm season. Terminix them with our exclusive problem-solved guarantee. 1-800-TERMINIX.
What's that?
Metamucil.
Get out. That's a cookie.
The power of powder in a wafer. Tastes so good, you won't believe it's Metamucil. Get regular, stay regular. The cookie way.
How do you invest to help secure your children's future? You start with your dreams and Edward Jones.
My life
my world, it all begins with a dream.
Edward Jones.
Oh, hey, hi, I'm Digger. Don't mind me, I'm just a dermatophyte. You know, a nail infection. All I want is to get in here and live under your nail. You can't get me with clippers or those surface treatments you try on your own. I'm in too deep in your nail bed. I'll make myself comfortable, invite a few friends. Settle in.
Do you have thick, discolored, or flaky nails? Millions of people do. It may be caused by an active live infection. That's why you should ask your doctor about prescription-only Lamisil. Unlike surface treatments, Lamisil is a pill that works through the bloodstream to target and attack the infection at its source, underneath the nail. In fact, you can start to see clearer, healthier nails in just 3 months. Lamisil isn't for people with liver or kidney problems. In rare cases, serious side effects in the liver or serious skin reactions have occurred, so your doctor may do a simple blood test. Other side effects, including headache, diarrhea, indigestion, and rash, were generally mild. Ask your doctor about Lamisil. Once daily Lamisil tablets. Get your nail infection where it grows.
A suicide victim leaves a note that could destroy the DA's marriage and his career.
I'm suppressing it as a sensitive document.
And that's just for starters. The show that's called Great and a masterpiece will keep you guessing till the end.
What is in that note?
An all-new DA, ABC Friday, 10/9 Central.
The missing honor student found alive. As police search for her abductor, Good Morning America has the latest breaking news on how she is, how they found her, how she stayed alive tomorrow.
Finally from us this evening, what price? Justice, emphasis on the price. This is about crime and punishment in Los Angeles. More than 50,000 inmates were released early from Los Angeles County jails since the beginning of last year, long before their sentences were finished. ABC's Judy Muller reports from California about the money.
Every day, more than 100 prisoners are being released from the LA County Jail.
I will come back. Go.
Most of them have served only a fraction of their sentences for crimes ranging from assault to auto theft. The county's unprecedented budget crisis has forced the sheriff to lay off deputies and close some jails. The remaining jails are bursting at the seams.
They never gave me a bunk. I had peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for 4 days, and finally last night I had a piece of meat on a sandwich.
So it's crowded.
It's ridiculous.
The sheriff says the crowded conditions left him no choice.
And I'm very troubled by this program because it sends a clear message to certain criminals that you commit the crime, you will not do the time.
In fact, most misdemeanor offenders now serve only 10% of their sentences, and the word is getting around. Many criminals now prefer a jail sentence over the lesser punishment of community service. They know they'll be out of here in a matter of days, if not hours. Outraged prosecutors are calling the policy catch and release, a phrase usually applied to freeing fish, not criminals.
Exactly, big difference. And our police are out there catching them, and we're helping to catch them, and they're being released.
Police Chief William Bratton is frustrated because the criminals arrested by his officers in the city are being released from jails operated by the county.
That a significant percentage of these people, once released, within a very short period of time, commit other offenses and are rearrested.
Rearrested and resentenced.
You're to serve an additional 30 days in county jail.
But everyone, the judge, the prosecutor, and the prisoner, knows he'll be out much sooner than that. And he'll have lots of company. Judy Muller, ABC News, Los Angeles.
And that is our report on World News Tonight. I'm Peter Jennings. Good night from Washington.
Tonight at 10/9 Central.
Be careful.
It's Judgment Day at the Kingdom.
There's a price to be paid for evil and incompetence.
All will pay for their sins.
You're all mine.
On all new Stephen King's Kingdom Hospital, ABC tonight, 10/9 Central.
First, fast, accurate. News 2 at 6 starts now.
More than 600 people scammed. If you've ever thought of using eBay, we've got a warning for you tonight. Good evening, everyone. I'm Bob Mueller.
And I'm Ann Holt. Police call it the largest case of fraud involving eBay, and the suspect lives right here in Nashville. His victims live in 48 different states, everywhere but Wyoming and Idaho, and that's just a start. This scam reaches worldwide with victims in Canada, Australia, Italy, Brazil, and England. News 2's Christy Lowe has more. We apologize for not having that story right now. We'll get to it in just a moment.
Speaking
Bob?
of scams, Ann, heads up for a possible scam involving some concert tickets here in Nashville. WKDF Country Radio warns that tickets to a special listeners-only concert are showing up for sale online and on the street. But buyer beware. The only official way to get tickets is to win them free. No one is licensed to sell them, so tickets being scalped may be counterfeit. Recognize this guy? He's an accused liar.